What is up, GG603, owner and operator of TSW Wrestling, and of course, your reigning, defending, cruiserweight champion, baby. The best of the best, and can't wait to see those rankings hopefully reflect as such. We got a huge week coming up, Money in the Bank match nearly full. So we're gonna break down the power rankings per usual, the 2 Sweet 25, and then we will dive into the full Money in the Bank card as you guys know it. So far, let's dive on in, baby. Let's get it. A lot going on this week. We got our risers, our fallers, our honorable mentions, so let's dive on in, baby. Of course, real quick, you gotta mention Vibe because he is just a slippery salmon. Slipperiest of salmons, also lightly connected, but only previously, not currently, is Clap. Fuck you, Clap. Piece of shit. Slippery little fuck. God damn, I'm not happy about it. My words may have come to bite me, and the chickens might have come home to roost here in TSW for you, boy. Couple more honorable mentions real quick. We got Grim threw down the backstage brawl, beat down, of course, see Prod. Now on the outside, looking in at some good buys, as well as Shrades. Of course, Shrades will be in the Money in the Bank match, but did take a pinfall loss this week. Got to mention big time with that incredible tag title match. I tell you what, I've never seen a tag title match so close. Be it 2-0. That was really well fought. Loved what I saw there. And of course, Z-Rock. Will we see the Rocker in the Bank? You better believe it, baby. That's my boy. That's my boy. Let's get it. But let's get into the TS25 starting off. Hot, cold, depends how you look at it. We got Tony, bit of a losing streak as of late. Still your Tony title holder, but lost the Hardcore Championship. Lost the King of the Ring tournament. Will be in Money in the Bank, but things have been tough as of late. There's been some controversy involving C-Ballin, maybe Tony questioning that partnership, maybe searching for some new management. Who could possibly know? But we do know Tony will be in Money in the Bank alongside these individuals. We got Craigie, unranked, jumping into the 24 hole here. Of course, won that qualifier alongside, I believe it was it CJ and Adam. A little battle around the world, so to speak. Great win there. Will Craigie win Money in the Bank, as well as LeBron? LeBron gonna be a little bit ranked higher because I did think his win was a little more impressive just because of who he beat out, of course, against some former champions in Meme and Kapner. Great stuff there. Loved what I've seen from those gents qualifying. Now let's dive into the women's division. Of course, we got the women's tag champs. We got Bama. We got Miss Stoney. Now, to be honest, tough loss this week. We're gonna have to flip those two. Bama's gonna get the one extra spot up above Miss Stoney. They will have a rematch for the women's tag titles at Money in the Bank, and man, that's gonna be a loaded show. Again, we'll break down the full card at the end of things here, so to speak. But man, this is gonna be an absolute electric pay-per-view, as is often the case here in TSW. In the 20 spot, as we had a lot of steadfast spots. You know, we are a 1 week between pay-per-view, so things are going to be a little bit even here. We got Dargan here staying at the 20 spot. Of course, we'll be challenging to regain the BMI championship against Ched. That's going to be a big matchup, literally, and, well, literally. Again, we'll touch on stipulations and all that later on at the end of the rankings. We've got AJ here, similar boat to Dargan, looking to regain his title. Of course, he'll be facing Swanee at pay-per-view. And then we got a little bit more Money in the Bank action as Mech jumps back up 4 spots. Big win, stood tall, looking good. Will we have the monster in the bank? It's looking that way right now. He's going to be a tough guy to beat, but rumor has it, a little afraid of heights, not wanting to scamper up the ladder. We'll see how things shake out at the titular match at that pay-per-view. Moving right along, we've got Roldy, we've got Steph, of course, reigning mixed tag champions, inaugural. Doing so, we did announce, of course, who they'll be facing at the pay-per-view. We'll touch on that a little bit later and see. We're just holding steadfast. We've got Jen, Nuggy, none of these folks moving. None of them. They're holding tight. Nuggy did, I believe, get the jump over Jen. If it wasn't already the case, certainly is the case here. Of course, great win this week. Is technically undefeated here in TSW, though only a few matches. And then more holding tight. We've got Rox, we've got Fend, we've got Fritz. Reigning trios champions. Don't know what they're going to do at pay-per-view, but they will defend those trios titles, so we'll see how that shakes out as well. See what I'm saying here? A lot of, well, let's wait and see. You know, a lot of these guys weren't active this week. It was a shorter match card for a Thursday Throwdown, but I think we have a huge build for this pay-per-view nonetheless. And talk about big pay-per-view matches. How about Swanee here? We're going to get the first singles champion on the rankings. Swanee, of course, Universal Champion, beats out AJ via that bit of a low blow situation. We will have a definitive finale, potentially, AJ, of course, could win that title back. We could see a rubber match, but Swanee can look to 2-0 clean sweep this feud. We'll talk stipulations at the end, as mentioned. Talk about big, talk about girth, talk about the BMI division. Thick, not king, but thick. Ched here, too sweet indeed. Ched always looking good, literally, figuratively, girthy as always. Will he retain the BMI title? I tell you what, I'd love to hear from Ched. I feel like it's been a little bit since we got a hot Ched promo here in TSW. And talk about hot promos. How about this storyline? Unfortunately, former heavyweight champion in the 8th spot. We bumped him up a ranking. You know, he was in action this week. Great win over B. Sanders. Valiant effort, by the way, by B. Sanders. Not an easy matchup. Of course, B. Sanders, one half the former tag champions, Legion of Boom, alongside one Do Not. But Raw absolutely wound up dominating at the end of the day, as he often does. Brawl with Boxie to set up that pay-per-view, and I'm certain we'll see Boxie later in these rankings here. But moving right along, I'm gonna move up a spot, kind of my default here. And because I felt a little bit bad, screwed up the booking this week, just kind of miscut some things and didn't want to fix it, to be honest, but I think it does possibly benefit. Now, you could have an extra win going to pay-per-view, but you could have had a loss going to pay-per-view, so Emma will be defending that women's title against a open challenge, opportunity of my decision, and we'll see how things shake out here. Emma is kind of in the Steph role of last year. You know, you line them up, she'll knock them back. Not a huge division. Nothing really percolating story-wise from what we gather. Not really someone to pick fights in chats. So right now, you know, keep lining up contenders. Win your matches. We'll see how things shake out. Nice reign here, closing in a little bit of a month and a half. I do think this might be one of, if not the longest single reigns in women's history, as Steph did hot potato a little bit there. She always won it back, but did hot potato a little bit there. But we're excited to see how this division continues to shake out. And talk about someone we're excited to see. We're talking LBJ. He's sitting back and waiting. Maybe he has like a warm-up squash or something at pay-per-view, but LBJ's in a great spot. He is the reigning king of the ring. He's waiting to find out if it's Boxie or Raw. He will be challenging for the heavyweight championship. And LB, the glorious king, we bow down to you, sir. We'll wait for your move. Now the top 5. Not much going here. You can gather there's at least one swap, and it is going to be the Landmark. Landmark back in the top 5. Of course, huge defense the tag team titles with a guy who will remain in the 4 spot. Finn in 4 spot again here. Finn's got some crazy momentum, as is Landmark. You know, we don't often do the champ thing, but I tell you what, these tag titles, they're dominating right now. And we talked about this a little bit on the show off air, technically. You know, great title reign. And part of me goes, well, let's get the titles off them. But then the other part of me is like, well, you know what? They've earned this. Why would I do that? Just keep on defending the belts, baby. Do what you do. So I'm excited to see what Finn and Landmark, the Founding Fathers, can do at pay-per-view to continue to cement this 100 and what's going to be, what, 109-day title reign by the time we get to pay-per-view. It's been incredible watching these guys work inside the ring, especially with the addition of Blue. You my boy, Blue. He has really been just the glue holding this team together now more than ever. Now let's see, will the top 3 change, or will this be a rare? Have we ever had a static top 4? We're gonna find out. We might just today. We've got Boxie staying at the 3 spot. Looked good in that little brawl this week, but end of the day was not an action I considered sliding him behind the tag champions, but it didn't feel right. It's only been 1 week, and Boxie is absolutely fantastic, electric in this role, so excited to see what is next for the boxed one, as of course faces Raw. We'll talk about all the stipulations of the pay-per-view, but we will say right now that is going to be last man standing. That is going to be a bloodbath. That is going to possibly be the biggest match in TSW history. I cannot wait to see how this thing shakes out. Now, the top 2, will we see a change? You saw last week we were struggling. We weren't sure. And this week, I hate to say it stays the same. JG603 reigning defending cruiserweight champion here at the 2 spot. Looking a little different there, Jay. Looking a little different than ever. Huh. Bit of a change of the guards here in TSW, but of course, with JG there, that means number 1 is going to be the one and only Yunk. Continues the undefeated streak. I'll double check the exact details, and we'll have the number of technically the full match. And then I do think technically the pinfalls within the gauntlet we could call a separate match. We absolutely could, and we very well might. But I tell you what, Yunk has been absolutely incredible. Yunk will be defending the Hardcore Championship in some form of match, an open challenge, multi-man. I don't know right now, but I tell you what, Yunk, he's game for it. He seems like anytime we keep saying line him up, you knock him back, and this guy is the epitome of that. Undefeated, nearly 20 pins this man has. without a single loss. Absolutely incredible, of course. But let's dive real quick into the pay-per-view. We've got the last chance Money in the Bank qualifier. Of course, we have a spot open there. 7-man match, certainly. So let's see how things shake out for that last chance Money in the Bank qualifier. Of course, everyone who has a chance to qualify before will be in that match for that opportunity. We got the trios titles. Don't know quite what the congregation's going to do quite yet. Of course, we just touch on Yunk. What's up with Yunk? Not sure as well. Also not sure the Founding Fathers. They're going to be defending the tag titles. We don't know who against. Talk about tag titles, the women tag titles. We know it's going to be Roland Skull versus Jen and Nuggie, which has been affectionately dubbed as Team Jugs. Absolutely love that. Of course, the mixed tag. We know it's going to be Steph and Roldy versus the fan favorite Hoodat. Cannot wait to see how that happens because that's a good team right there. Miss Hoodat has had Steph's number in the past, and Tiger Jet looks really good so far here in the new game. We got Swanee versus AJ. You know, the bull arm be damned. We want a definitive answer. I think this might be a multi-pinfall situation. We're not quite sure yet how that's going to shake out. Of course, we got the women's heavyweight championship. Emma will be defending that against, I don't know who's going to step up, who we're going to send out there. Only time will tell. We've got a little non-title as well. We got Prod versus Grim. Last time here, underground stipulation. Prod, here, let's break that down too. Prod was set to face the Hardcore champion, and I think most would agree Hardcore probably the lower tier. If Prod can win this, we might bump him up on what title shot he's getting. If Grim wins this, we might just see a triple threat of Grim, Prod, and then whoever might be Hardcore champion, Yunk, or whoever else might be stepping up into that spot there. Of course, we've got the BMI title. We've got Dargan versus Ched. That is going to be 20-minute Iron Ham rules. Dying to see how that thing shakes out. Haven't seen the full girth of the Dargantics family, but I do hear rumblings that Pat might be back this week, and that is bad news for Ched and Trio. Talk about bad news for champions. Of course, the titular Money in the Bank match. We've got LeBron Craigie, Shrades McTony, my boy Z-Rock, and the last chance qualifier. We'll see how that shakes out. And certainly two banger top tier matches. We've got the heavyweight title, last man standing, Boxie versus Raw. That'll main event the pay-per-view. But we got to touch on the Cruiserweight Championship here. We're going full screen. I get it. Some people are saying, Jay, things might have gotten to your head a little bit, You're running the show, you're booking the matches, you're the record-breaking Cruiserweight champion, Vinny Vidi Vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. Everybody who stepped up to JG just can't handle the sweetness. But then this Clap guy, this Johnny Claps, he calls himself the Messiah, the Savior of TSW. Well, I tell you what, the only thing you should save is a spot in the infirmary, in the emergency room, in the ER, because I tell you what, when I'm done with you, Clap Daddy, you're going to want to turn the other cheek and get smacked on that side as well, as I'm going to walk out of Money in the Bank Amsterdam in the Netherlands as still your reigning, defending Cruiserweight champion and rightful heart and soul of TSW, baby. We're the best for a reason. You can't beat it. It would take a miracle, an act of God truly, to take down this man, 603. Yeah. Well, Clap, I'll see ya this Thursday. One-on-one with the great one. Can't wait to throw down with you, baby. For the last time, to be clear, because I'm going to put you away. I'm going to roll that stone boulder against the cave, and trust me, he ain't going to rise again. In 1 week's time, you're staying there, baby. Well, I appreciate y'all for coming through. Things got a little intense there. But make sure to like, comment, subscribe, notify bell, ding activated, all that good stuff. And I'm going to catch you next week where JG will certainly continue greatness. Appreciate you. Bye.